If you know me from back when I still regularly did YouTube videos, you know that actually I started out on YouTube like a long, long time ago. Like, oh God, like almost, I started out on YouTube like actually 20 years ago. Yeah, I started on YouTube 20 years ago, and I started out on YouTube mainly with visual novel let's plays. That's what kind of got me famous back when I was still famous on YouTube. It was visual novel let's plays. I was one of the first to do visual novel let's plays on YouTube, and certainly the first guy to do visual novel reviews and visual novel let's plays on YouTube in German. Yeah, I was pretty much the first to do that in German for sure. So, uh, this is not something new. If you know me from Substack, then okay, then you're not used to me doing visual novel let's plays. But if you still know me from YouTube, then you know that I used to do a lot of visual novel let's plays. I haven't done them in forever, and also I kind of gave up on YouTube. So I'm probably gonna upload this on YouTube, just be, because why not? But I'm not focusing on YouTube anymore. The algorithm hates me, and the algorithm is gonna hate what I'm about to do right now even more. So yeah, so this is even though I'm gonna upload this on YouTube as well, and this is gonna be my first YouTube video in like a year because I focused on my Substack. Um, so even though I'm probably gonna upload this on YouTube as well, I'm really doing this for my Substack because YouTube already hates me, and no matter what I say about this particular visual novel, YouTube isn't gonna like that because YouTube is stupid. YouTube doesn't understand context or doesn't want to understand. Surely by now they could. So even with this visual novel, if I were to say this visual novel is great, I don't know. I maybe it is. Actually, this is my intention here. I mean, this seems nice. I mean, it seems well intended, and actually, my intention here is to praise this visual novel. I don't know if that holds up, but that really was my original idea because I really don't like that stupid meme. I even forgot her name. What's her name? Uh, Emilia, right? I can't stand her. Uh, all these stupid racists with their stupid AI slop and their stupid bitch. I hate her. I hate her guts. She's infesting the internet like a fucking virus. Ugh! I can't fucking stand her. And excuse my French. I normally don't talk like that, but I really, really can't stand her. So I'm asking people, what even is this stupid AI slop? Where did she come from? Where did this stupid racist bitch come from? And they tell me, well, she comes from this video game. And now I'm kind of surprised because this video game tells me that it's actually supposed to be against extremism. So I'm a little confused. So I'm a bit conflicted because I really don't like that racist bitch. But on the other hand, well, I don't like her because she's racist, right? But this game tells me it's supposed to be against racism. So I'm kind of conflicted. So so I really don't like that bitch, but if this is if this is a game that's really against racism, then then maybe even so, maybe I like the game. I don't know. We'll see. That's why I'm doing my own let's play of that, and I'm really going into this completely unbiased, and actually I'm really going into this with the intention of liking this game because maybe maybe Amelia is the antagonist in here, right? So, and maybe this game is against racism, which would be great, but we'll see. Okay, so uh, press navigating gaming, the internet, and extremism pathways. How nice. Press start. What's the start? How do I? What is the start? But oh, just press that. Okay. Welcome to Pathways, an interactive game where you determine your journey. In this game, you will have to choose between certain options that can lead to different outcomes. Yeah, that's what you call a visual novel. Let's see where your path takes you. Oh, and you probably know that I've actually done my own visual novels. Not only have I played visual novels in the past and made Let's Plays of that, I actually made some of my own visual novels. I've linked them in some of my previous videos. I've even linked them on my Substack. Uh, I linked them both on my YouTube About page, as well as on my Substack. You can see my games on itch, and they're all visual novels. I made like I don't know 6 or 7 visual novels all in all. So yeah, so I'm I even made some of them were even against, well, maybe not against racism specifically, but some were actually human rights related and against stereotypes and against prejudice. I made games like that. So yeah.
In this game, you will be presented with scenarios that require you to take action, like hearing something hateful while gaming, or watching a provocative video on social media.
Uh-huh, okay.
From the 3 alternative options presented, you will use your mouse to select one based on the information given and what outcome you think this will have.
Okay.
The choices you make will determine the route your character takes. Remember to be aware of getting trapped in risky or harmful situations, as the different choices can lead to situations involving extremism and radicalization, damaging the outcome for your character.
Okay. Choose what got you. I choose the girl. Okay, so okay, this is locked. Okay, well, let's start here then. Why even give me a choice if there is no choice? But okay.
Charlie was enjoying an online game with friends.
Oh, so the girl is called Charlie. Okay.
Charlie had not long started attending a new college in East Riding, and they were so relieved to have made new friends, having recently left school.
You can probably tell that I'm not British. So I'm just wondering, is Charlie a normal British name for a girl?
Charlie has started browsing new games and websites that some of the new friends use. Sometimes, though, the people on these websites say things that seem off, even slightly concerning.
Slightly concerning? Where is she browsing? Disney? Only slightly concerning? Ha! Okay.
Someone on this website has encouraged Charlie to download a video, but Charlie is unsure.
Just a video, okay?
How should Charlie react?
Well, I'm just from the way this is presented, you would think this is a game targeted towards toddlers, right? But on their website, it says that it's for young adults. It's like for 18-year-olds. So I'm a little confused because honestly, I'm like 40, right? And but playing this makes me feel like a toddler. So, but it's supposed to be for young adults, right? So I'm a little confused here. But yeah, so I'm just gonna give the answer I would give. I would download the video. It might not be the best decision. It might not be what they want to hear. But honestly, that's what I would do, and that's what I have done. I don't know how many videos I've downloaded. I've downloaded all kinds of videos from the internet, and so yeah, and some of them I deleted again very quickly. But okay, yeah, so yeah, but yeah, I mean, you don't know since they're not telling you what the video is about. How can I tell what the video is about if I don't have a look, right? So right? And the game is supposed to be against stereotypes and against prejudice, right? So if I dismiss someone or something out of hand just because I don't know it yet, or I don't know them yet, or I don't know it yet, right? If I dismiss something just because it's foreign to me, just because it's a stranger, maybe it's an immigrant that I don't know yet, that would be wrong, right? And that would be racist if you apply that to humans. If you dismiss someone just because he's a stranger, that would be wrong. Just because he's from another country doesn't mean that there's necessarily anything wrong with him. Just because you don't know him yet, just because maybe his culture is foreign to you, right? So give him a chance. Look at his character, you know, and then um, if you apply that to the video, since they haven't said anything about the video, they didn't say, oh, this is a horrible video of racists. They didn't say that, right? It's just a video. We don't know what the video is about. They didn't say, oh, it's one of Hitler's most evil speeches. We don't know that. It didn't say that. It's just a video. It could be anything. It could be Mahatma Gandhi teaching nonviolence, right? So we don't know that. We have to take a look, and just dismissing something just out of ignorance, that would be wrong, right? So yeah, download the video.
Charlie wanted to continue being part of their new online community.
There. Again, I'm not British, and you probably know by now that English is not my first language, or my second. Uh, but is this normal? Like, is this a normal pronoun? Like, is that like a normal? I mean, okay, I can get it. I get it if she's like a trans woman or something, but it didn't give me the choice between trans woman and trans man or something. It just gave me the choice between boy and girl, right? So is this normal to call a girl Charlie and call her der? Her pronoun is der, them, der. Is that a normal pronoun for a girl? I get it that maybe if you're a trans girl, well, actually, if you were a trans girl, you would want to be referred to as a girl, right? That's the whole point, right? So, but okay, some trans girls, maybe want to be referred to as their or them, right? But Charlie is not a trans girl. I mean, she has a weird name and she has weird pronouns, but she's just a girl in this game. We've never established that she's trans. So I'm a little confused, but okay.
Charlie downloaded the video and shared it with different people online.
Is it normal in the UK that is it normal? Are girls usually named Charlie, and do you usually call them there? I don't know. I'm asking. Oh no, they shared it with different people online. Okay, well then it can't be bad, right? Otherwise she wouldn't have shared it, right? And and they and There, now I'm even saying there. Her. Well, okay, maybe she wants to be called there. So, okay. There. But this sounds weird, so you don't necessarily know who I'm referring to then, right? So, okay, no, I'm still gonna say her. I'm sorry. Hope that doesn't offend Charlie too much. But look at the picture, she looks like a normal girl, right? She doesn't look like a Charlie, and she doesn't look like a them there. Um, so maybe if she wants to be called them there, maybe she should make themselves look like themselves. Theirs. You know what I mean? I mean that with the greatest respect, but um, if you want to be referred to with a certain pronoun, you should also put in some effort to look like that pronoun. And Charlie here is not making any effort to look trans. She just looks like a normal girl. I'm sorry. And it never said she was trans. So I'm really confused. Okay, well, but enough of that. So anyway, um, it can't be a bad video or too bad because, otherwise she wouldn't share it and otherwise her community wouldn't approve of it. Or at least, it couldn't be too bad. I mean, you know, sure, maybe she's friends with neo-Nazis. I don't know her friends, but we're assuming it's a normal girl with normal friends, right? So I'm thinking the video can't be too bad, otherwise she wouldn't continue to share it and her friends wouldn't like it either, right? So okay, maybe it's a bit distasteful, but if it would be like, I don't know, like I said, if it would be a speech by Hitler, I'm sure her friends and her community would not continue to share that, right?
Charlie felt relieved and happy that people
Yeah,
were liking the video and also sharing it.
right. She seems so nice, so certainly she wouldn't be spreading Hitler speeches or whatever, right?
Deep down, Charlie wasn't sure if this was the right thing to do, as some of the ideas in the video were extreme and violent.
I'm a little confused. Look at what it says here. It doesn't say the video was violent. So actually the video was not violent because it says here the ideas in the video were violent. So I'm a little confused. What does that mean? So I'm assuming that means it wasn't, one of Jeffrey Dahmer's home videos where because, with Dahmer's home videos, you would expect to see some actual violence, right? So, but it can't be that because then it wouldn't say that the ideas in it were violent, right? The ideas in a Jeffrey Dahmer video are not violent. There were no ideas in there. It's just violence, okay? Right? So if it would be just that, if it would be just violence, then they wouldn't say the ideas in it were violent. So I'm a little confused from, the way they're wording this is confusing because it seems to me we're actually not talking about a video that directly shows violence. We're just talking about a video that presents some ideas that could be interpreted as, well, can an idea even be violent? I'm a little confused. Maybe they're trying to say that it's a video that incites violence and promotes violence, right? But then why don't they say that, right? The wording is really weird. I'm sorry, but it's confusing. So are we talking about a video that shows violence? Are we talking about a video that promotes violence? Because it doesn't seem that's what we're talking about, because that's not how they phrased it.
It's important to remember that downloading or streaming certain content can lead to a terrorist offence conviction.
What? Wait, what? It's important to remember that downloading or streaming certain content can lead to a terrorist offense conviction. We've established that this wasn't even a video that directly shows violence, and all you do is downloading it, right? So I'm not familiar with UK laws. You know, um, the laws in my country, the laws in Germany are already pretty strict. Especially when it comes to gun control and stuff. But that said, I have a gun permit, right? It's not impossible to get a gun permit. Even though the permits and the requirements are a bit strict, but you can get it legally. It's not. Because people are always complaining about how strict German gun control would be, right? Um, and it's true, you know. It's true, especially well, actually, to be really precise, it's not in Germany where Hitler introduced stricter gun laws. Germany kind of already had strict gun laws, but they weren't really enforced. It's just that Hitler was the one who started to really enforce them. Um, but when it comes to Austria before Hitler didn't have any gun laws. So with Austria in particular, it really was Hitler who introduced gun laws, and basically we still have the same strict gun laws that Hitler introduced back then. They're not as racist, as they used to be. Because back then it was specifically Jews that were not allowed to own guns. You know, um, but uh, when it comes to everything else, and when it comes to how strict they are, it's still basically pretty much the same as when Hitler introduced those gun laws. That's where our modern gun laws, our strict German gun laws, originate from. They really originate from Hitler, or at least he was the first to really enforce them, right? So, yeah, where was I? Yeah, but even though we're infamous for having the strictest gun laws and infamous for literally having um, our gun laws enforced by literal Nazis, and having it originate from that, I still feel, you know, our gun laws are not that strict, right? If you really need a gun, you can get a permit legally. It's not that difficult if you have a good reason, right? And okay, maybe you can't carry it everywhere you want to carry it, but at least you can have it in your home, right? If you really want one, and go through the legal requirements, it's it's not it's not unreasonable. A lot of people say German laws are too strict, but I don't think so. Uh, that said, I'm a little confused about the UK because it seems to me that the UK is actually much stricter. In the UK you can't even carry a knife. Forget about a gun. And also it seems to me, and I didn't know that, but apparently in the UK, if you download a video that contains ideas that could be regarded as violent, then you are a terrorist. You get a terrorist conviction for a terrorist offense. I didn't know it was that strict. And that's it. That's it. We're done. That was the episode. Okay. Um, how exactly is this a message against racism? And I mean, this was put out by the government, right? I mean, okay, hey, that's great. So the UK government now informed me that if I download a video in the UK that contains ideas that could be regarded as violent, then I might uh, be regarded as a terrorist and be imprisoned for a terrorist offense. That's regarded as a terrorist offense, apparently, in the UK. That was important information, yes, I admit that, because I was actually planning to visit the UK, and now I'm certainly not going to do that because I can't guarantee that I won't be doing that, so I certainly will not go to the UK, like ever. So thank you for the warning, but it did nothing in helping me to understand the UK government, or and also it did nothing against racism. There was nothing against racism in, at least in this episode, and also it didn't. It really didn't help me understand uh, the UK government's policies. I mean, it was helpful that they warned me that they have such strict laws. So okay, so I will not go there anymore. Uh, but other than me now thinking that the UK has completely lost its mind, this didn't do anything. This accomplished the opposite, right? Um, this did not make me understand and respect and obey UK laws. You know, I'm sorry, but you know, it it just made me think that the UK has completely lost its mind, and that I will certainly avoid going there like the plague. So yeah, if they want people to show understanding of UK's obviously very strict laws, then that's not the way to do it. That's the exact opposite way. If they wanted to really make people understand and respect the laws, they should not just threaten people with that, right? They should explain, okay, how is this in the interest of the people? How is this for their own protection? I have no answer for that, but that's how they, should frame it, and maybe they can come up with an answer for that. Oh, okay. Okay, I can't even click on there. I just have to click next. It seems like it gives you a choice, but it really doesn't. And I feel this is kind of a theme here. It's like the illusion of
Charlie
choice.
is receiving an important grade on a piece of work they submitted for their hospitality course at college.
You guys are a piece of work.
Charlie put in a lot of effort for this work and is excited to receive good feedback.
Okay, I still hate Amelia, and I haven't even seen her so far. Um, but now I also hate the UK government. I, I I was looking forward to them having made a video, a visual novel against racism, but so far it hasn't been against racism at all, and also their position seems to be completely indefensible to the point that they're not even trying to defend it. So, yeah, great. So now I don't just hate Emilia. Now I hate everyone from the UK.
Charlie takes a seat in class and waits to get their grade. To their disappointment, Charlie doesn't do as well as they expect. They got 60 out of 100 for their work, but they wanted at least 75 out of 100.
Yeah, that's great, Charlie. No one cares. Um, so much for being against racism, right? Because, well, I'm really not racist, but I'm really starting to dislike the UK, which could be interpreted as racist. So, yeah, I guess wow, they're really great at making people racist. Huh.
To make matters worse, somebody else got 80 out of 100, and the teacher said that this person has received a job offer.
Yeah, who cares? I, you know, 70 out of 100 isn't even bad. I mean, to be honest, I usually scored much lower than that.
Charlie has applied to dozens of jobs, but hasn't had any luck yet.
Yeah, just keep trying.
Somebody else in the class tells Charlie that this is proof that immigrants are coming to the UK and taking our jobs.
Oh, that's Amelia. Oh, I was afraid they cut her out after all the controversy. But no, she's still in there. Oh, that's Amelia. Okay, she looks like a total Karen. And, well, and to be honest, she does look like a total bitch. And she behaves like a total. I still really, really, really don't like Amelia. Along with everyone else in the UK now. I don't like anyone in the UK because, well, okay, maybe not the people. I guess maybe there's some nice people in the UK. I don't know. But the government is a mess. I'm sorry, but this was put out. Keep in mind, this was put out by the government, and you download a video. You don't know what it is. You download it to look at it. What it is. Someone sends you a video. You look at it, and boom, you're a terrorist committing a terrorist offense. That makes no sense. I'm sorry, but you know, the way I see it, the UK shouldn't have an immigration problem. Well, they should, but the other way around. Because if their government is like that, I'm like, now I understand why they exited the EU, the European Union. It's to prevent people from leaving. If they would still be in the European Union, and and then they would introduce uh, ridiculously extreme laws like that, making pretty much anyone who downloads any video a, a terrorist committing a terrorist offense. You know, if they have laws like that, if they would still be in the European Union, well, then everyone would leave, right? But now they can't do that because now they can't now they can't go to the European Union because they're not in the European Union anymore, right? So the British people are stuck in Britain, but but really they should have the opposite problem. They should they should have people leaving them, you know. I certainly don't want to. Well, great. Thank you, UK government. You effectively prevented me from ever immigrating to the UK. So but I guess that's one way to solve the issue. What? Did I miss something? How should Charlie react? Ignore the comment and ask the counselor. Ignore the comment, but don't. I don't know what the comment was. Oh, that. Well, okay, I already forgot. But I'm assuming it was some kind of racist comment. Sucker punch Emilia. Is that an option? No. Hmm. I'm missing an option here. This is none of these options is what I would do. I certainly not gonna ignore the comment. I certainly not. It only allows you to either ignore the comment or agree with it. How about disagreeing with the comment? That's not even an option. Okay. I can understand that. Okay, maybe violence isn't something they would want to promote here. So I can understand if they don't give you punching Emilia as an option. But at least they should give you the option to disagree with her racist comment, right? They don't give you the option. To, uh, these are these are all wrong, but I gotta choose one. So I
Charlie
would
was
not
still
ignore it.
upset by the end of the lesson.
Yeah, no wonder. She should have disagreed with stupid racist Amelia.
They couldn't get past the thought that their classmates had received a job offer.
What?
They hadn't.
What? No. No, but she's upset about that? No, why isn't she upset about Amelia? Why isn't she upset about the racist bitch Amelia?
Charlie spoke with their teacher after the lesson, and they learned why their grade had not been high and how to improve. The teacher listened to Charlie's frustrations about not having any job offers yet and booked in a time to help with some new job applications.
Okay, so what about Amelia? We didn't even address Amelia's racism. Okay.
Charlie has been chilling out all afternoon.
Yeah, this is getting annoying.
They've been this
blah, blah, blah,
Charlie
blah.
watches the video and learns from the video that Muslim men are stealing the places of British war veterans in emergency accommodation.
Huh? Why do you put your veterans into emergency accommodations?
In the video,
Wait,
they explain
what
that the
veterans
government
even?
is betraying white British people, and we need to take back control of our
Wait a minute, what veterans? Do they even have veterans? I mean, I don't know exactly what the definition of a veteran is, but the definition of a veteran for me is someone who fought in a war, right? A veteran of a war, right? That's what I regard as a veteran. What wars? I mean, yeah, they supplying Ukraine, but they not with soldiers, right? Not officially. Yeah. So what wars has the UK been fighting recently? Like in the last 40 years? You know, I think the last war they had was like that Falkland War, and that's more than 40 years ago. That was like in the early 80s, and that lasted like 5 days. So what veterans? But okay, where were we? Oh yeah, in the video they explain that the government is betraying white British people. Well, I would say not just the white. I would totally agree with that, except that they're betraying all the British people. You know, so it's kind of nice that they're indiscriminatory, betraying and oppressing all the British people regardless of skin color. Yeah, you know, yeah. So yeah. Find out more about the topic online. Engage directly with the post. This seems unfair. Well, I would like to say see, but since the UK government seems to be, well, I don't know. You know, before I started to play the game, I wasn't aware how Nazi the yeah, they're not. I mean, I'm sorry, but you know, compared with the laws the literal Nazis enacted, the UK laws seem even more strict. I mean, even in Nazi Germany, we did not. I mean, obviously, we didn't have the internet yet, but but there was our laws. Even in Nazi Germany, were not as strict as the laws in the UK today. But you know, without playing this game, I wouldn't have even realized that. So, you know, before I started playing this game, I might have defended the UK government. But now I literally, thanks to this game, I now literally think the UK government is literally worse than Nazis. So how could I defend them? So, okay, we go with B.
Charlie wasn't sure if this video was true. But the recent other encounters made them curious. Charlie went directly to the account's website and found research papers, statistics, information about protests, and more regarding the replacement of white people.
Okay, I actually addressed that. Um, I in one of my articles on Substack, I talked about that stupid racist, great replacement theory. Come to think of it, I think I'm not going to put this video on YouTube because they don't like these keywords. Even if even if I'm against racism, and I am, and check out my article on Substack, I'm exposing that conspiracy theory, and I'm very much against that conspiracy theory, and I'm explaining that it's actually completely racist, and it actually literally comes from Hitler. You know, yeah. Okay, well, no surprise. A lot of people, a lot of, a lot of, um, a lot of evil policies do have their origins with Hitler, including that propaganda about the alleged replacement. Um, so a lot of people don't know that, but Hitler wrote a sequel to Mein Kampf. And in that sequel, he comes up uh, with that propaganda. So that propaganda about the alleged replacement of the Germans originally referred to the Germans, comes directly from Hitler. And back then it was targeted against the Jews, and it was it was one of the main quote unquote justifications for the Holocaust. And I explain that in detail in my article. Look for it on Substack. It's on my Substack. Um, yeah, it's one of my most read articles on Substack. So yeah, of course, I'm very much against that evil propaganda, and I exposed it. And but even so, YouTube will not like me talking about that at all. Just because in order to expose this evil propaganda, I I have to talk about it, and I have to call it by its name, right? And as soon as you do, um, you know, YouTube hates you because they don't care in what context you're talking about Nazis. As soon as you talk about Nazis on YouTube, YouTube hates you. So I probably can't put this on YouTube after all. So even if you say Nazis are bad, YouTube doesn't care. You said Nazis. So, sadly, that's kind of how messed up YouTube is.
They continued browsing and encountered lots of harmful groups who agree with these sentiments.
You know what you should do, actually, guys? You should do what I just did. Explain to people where that propaganda literally comes from Hitler, and it was literally used as a quote-unquote justification for the Holocaust. So this is as evil as it gets, but people don't know that. So if you really want to be against racism, and you really want to be against this evil propaganda, well, how about you expose it for what it is and, explain that to people? How about you do that?
Charlie began intaking a lot of harmful ideological messages. In fact, some of the groups were actually illegal.
That you did nothing in exposing that. Yes, this is evil propaganda, but you did nothing to expose it as the evil Nazi propaganda that it is. You didn't even mention that it came from Hitler. You didn't even mention the Holocaust.
Charlie has been enjoying a family dinner at home when they receive a notification from their friend. Charlie's mum makes a comment about using phones at the dinner table.
Yeah, no one cares.
Amelia, Charlie's close friend, has made a video.
She's her close friend?
To join a political group.
Why is she friends with fucking Amelia? Fuck her. Look, yeah, and I don't get it. Why would people use that bitch as their symbol and pester the entire internet with AI slop based off of her? I mean, yeah, I can kind of understand why. I mean, the UK government seems to be really good at annoying people. So I don't think, when people make Emilia memes where they support Emilia and support her racist views, I don't think they're really trying to be racist. I think it's just out of protest for the UK's own draconian, dictatorial, Nazi laws. They're even stricter than the laws the Nazis had. So obviously people are gonna protest against being called, not just called, against actually being um, uh, being punished and prosecuted as terrorists committing terrorist acts for downloading random videos they didn't even know the content of, right? I mean, that was the example they gave, right? So obviously people don't all want to be not just labeled but punished as full-on terrorists. So obviously they're gonna protest against that. But but since they're framing their opposition as being racist Nazis, even though they're the Nazis, yeah, it makes people it has the exact opposite effect. It makes people racist, not because they want to be racist, but because they want to protest the Nazi laws that the UK government comes up with.
Amelia encourages Charlie to join a secret group on an app Charlie hasn't heard of before. Charlie isn't sure whether to join, explore further, or ignore.
Okay, well, obviously this is the wrong answer, but I want to see what happens.
Charlie thought the video the friend posted was so funny. They couldn't believe how many likes Amelia's memes were getting. It was inspiring. Charlie joined the secret group on this new platform. Their phone wouldn't stop buzzing with messages of support and invitations to participate in several similar groups.
And how exactly does this make people not want to join? You make it sound so positive. That was obviously the wrong answer, but you make it sound positive.
Charlie's mum was not so pleased and grew suspicious of all this new activity their child seemed to be involved in.
Yeah, screw her. Who listens to their parents anyway? I mean, what 18-year-old listens to their parents, right? Especially on political matters. So, yeah. You really not have. If this is supposed to be against racism, it's doing a horrible job. If this, on the other hand, is supposed to incite racism and to incite hatred and division, it's doing a great job. And I'm starting to think it's actually secretly, very much intentionally doing that.
Charlie was seeing their dad at the weekend. He lives in Hull, so their weekends look very different to their weekdays in East Riding.
Yeah, no one cares.
Charlie's friend Amelia immediately looked interested and told them about a protest she wished she could go to herself, but was not allowed.
Somehow, Amelia doesn't strike me as the person who would be hindered by that.
Amelia spoke of a gathering that had been organised by a small political group. They would come together and protest the changes that Britain has been through in the last few years and the erosion of British values. Amelia talked about the banners and the pickets that her friends had made for the events and expressed a real regret that she could not go, begging Charlie to go in her place.
Also, why does Emilia look like a radical left-wing feminist? Isn't she supposed to be right-wing?
Charlie has nothing to do this weekend, and a protest sounded like an interesting thing to take part in.
Oh yeah, because everyone joins protests out of boredom. Well, I'm gonna. Obviously, I don't agree with that, but I'm gonna choose that option because I want to see what happens.
Charlie decided this would be a good use of their time. Considering all the things they had seen and heard over the last few weeks, it would be good to express their feelings about it with like-minded individuals. They went home and made a banner to take with them to the protest.
They literally make it look positive.
Charlie arrived at the protest and was swept up by the atmosphere. It was great to see so many people there. Everything was going well until Charlie almost became involved in a fight by accident.
Now they're making the police look bad.
The police saw they were part of a group and took their details.
This is a visual novel put out by the UK government, and they do nothing but make their own government and their own police look horrible.
Charlie was frightened by this, not knowing if their parents would be informed.
See, it's all fault of the evil police, the evil UK government, and the evil parents. That's the message this visual novel gives people. And then they act all surprised when that's the message people take away. And that was it? Well,
Charlie thought about all the difficult choices they had needed to make in the last few weeks. Some of their choices had led to changes in friendship, and Charlie was feeling low, as they were. The teacher had noticed this and decided to reach out. The teacher sat with them and talked openly and frankly about the ideology that Charlie had discovered. The teacher reassured that Charlie wouldn't be in trouble.
what?
They would receive support.
See, that's it. So, okay. Wait, I'm so confused. Wait, I'm getting mixed messages here. Because originally you implied that people would be prosecuted and punished as literal terrorists committing terrorist acts for downloading a random video that isn't even violent in and of itself. But now you're saying that there will be no consequences. Because now she actually did a few things that I don't agree with. You know, with the video, I don't see anything wrong with the video because she didn't. How can she know what the video is about before she downloads it and looks at it? She has to download it and look at it in order to know what the video is about. Because, you know, it didn't say at all what the video is about, right? So I feel it's very unfair to be labeled not just labeled, but to be punished as an actual terrorist just for that, because you couldn't have known what the video is about unless you download it and look at it, right? And yet that gets you a terrorist conviction. That makes no sense. Okay? Some of the other things I did, she did, and I intentionally did because I wanted to see what happens. Some of the other things, like agreeing with extremists and joining racist protests, I personally I disagree with that. You know, I don't think those should be considered criminal offenses, but that personally, I feel that's certainly more morally wrong than downloading a random video you don't know anything about, right? So supporting racists, I feel, is morally wrong, right? Yet for that, she she faces no consequences. The only consequences that are implied that she might face is being punished as a terrorist for downloading a random video, right? But for her being racist and supporting racists and supporting anti-government protests, for that she faces no consequences at all. I feel for that she should at least face condemnation as opposed to the other thing, right? But she faces no, for the actual racist things she participated in, she faces no consequences. And then they act all surprised when when their little propaganda makes people more racist.
Charlie accepted they may need support. Charlie's teacher made a prevent referral, and they were able to provide tailored support for
Well,
Charlie.
if your prevent referral is as effective as your visual novel, I'm sure everything will go fine.
They began a workshop that helped them learn how to engage positively with ideology and the differences between right and wrong in expressing.
Right, but I don't want to engage positively with freaking racists like freaking Emilia. Why would you want me to engage positively with her?
Charlie received counselling to help them process the other events in their life, and they felt much better for it.
Well, and that's it. That was not helpful.
Charlie was referred to Prevent and Channel. Charlie was assigned a mentor to help them one-to-one, someone who had been in their shoes. They were reluctant at first, but gradually warmed to their mentor, forming trust with them, having heard and understood the similarities between them.
But didn't they just say there would be no consequences? So why does she get like a chaperone? I mean, I'm sure it wasn't voluntary. I'm sure she didn't ask for that, right?
The mentor was honest about the dangers of
This
following
this
a
whole
harmful
thing is
ideology, and the message resonated with Charlie.
this whole thing is full of contradictions.
Charlie had been informed of the support they would receive from Prevent, including skills support and family sessions. With all these gentler interventions, Charlie was able to rebuild their confidence, find their identity, and continue their college course successfully.
She's in college. So this is targeted at college. At people. This is targeted at people in college. Oh my God.
What is Prevent? Prevent is a referral program operated by the Home Office in partnership with local services. It was set up in 2003 as part of legislation responding to the 9/11 terror attack in the USA.
Yeah,
The
because
overarching aim
the
of Prevent
9/11
is to
attacks
stop
were
violent
totally in
extremism from
2003
happening within our
and
communities.
in fucking Britain.
Prevent works on the basis that any ideology can be harmful, and therefore anyone can be at risk.
Any ideology can be harmful?
The program seeks to
Wait,
identify
what?
cases of extremism
Any ideology
before
can?
any violent
That's the
acts are
basis?
committed, and it does so by addressing difficulties vulnerable individuals may be experiencing and helping them overcome it.
I'm so confused. This
Why
makes
is
no
Prevent
sense.
important? Prevent is an important part of the UK's counter-terrorism strategy because it seeks to tackle extremist behaviour as it emerges instead of after an attack. It acknowledges
Oh, so
that
it's like
underlying
pre-crime.
issues and vulnerabilities play a role in extreme ideas and behaviours and wants to reduce the effects
Like in Minority Report.
extremism. It's important because Prevent doesn't seek to punish people who have fallen victim to radicalisation. It aims to reduce the risk of violence and enable vulnerable people to live a life without hate or violence.
Yeah, I feel you're really not good at not inciting violence or hatred. You're actually really good at doing the exact opposite.
If the right conditions are met. Prevent does not target any specific demographic, community or ideology, and the support they offer is available to anyone who may be motivated.
Why not though? Why not target National Socialism? I feel, that is an evil ideology, so why not target that?
And how does Prevent work? Prevent will only come into contact with someone if they receive a referral, either from them directly or from someone who has concerns. Referrals can come from a variety of places.
Oh, so it's
parents,
yeah, we had that in Germany, both in East Germany and in Nazi Germany. These snitches. You snitch to the Gestapo, you snitch to the Stasi, right? Yeah, we had a lot of those bastards.
The individual's behaviour, beliefs, and other contextual factors that might make them vulnerable. The referral is then reviewed by a panel of experts.
Yeah, I say my neighbor whom I don't like. He has a religion I don't like, so I think he really needs your help. Please come take him away and take him to the funny farm or whatever.
The information is passed to Channel. Channels are the specialists in supplying support that is specific to radicalisation and ideologies. They work with the individual to reduce the risk of harm to that person and wider society. They take a multi-agency approach to providing support.
Multi-agency. So if your neighbor doesn't like your religion, the government comes in with multi-agencies, declares you a fucking terrorist for downloading just any video, and what? Yeah, am I getting this right? Because I think I am.
Is always confidential and voluntary.
And then they put you into fucking re-education camps or whatever, or at least try to brainwash you or whatever this approach seems to be. It sure seems like brainwashing to me.
Safe and peaceful, but to enable the individual at risk to live a fulfilling life without the risk of fines, arrests, or prison sentences, which may arise from extreme behaviours.
I'm never ever going to go to the UK again. I was actually planning a trip to the UK. I had a there's a specific there's it's not anything. Okay, well, I might as well say it. There's a movie being produced in the UK, and I wanted to get involved in that and help with that. So I was planning to go to the UK for that. But now I'm seriously, I'm not gonna go there. The UK seems like after having seen that, and this was put out by the UK government, okay? If it would be just some random guy, but no, this was put out by the UK government. And it made me realize how completely draconian and Nazi the UK government is. So yeah, thanks for the warning. I'm sure not gonna go to the UK ever. Oh, it goes on. Pre-crime. Wrong thing. Prevent wrong thoughts before they emerge. Call your thought police now. Does your neighbor believe in an ideology you disapprove of? Call your thought police, because remember, any ideology is evil, or whatever they said. Right? They condemned every ideology. So whatever the ideology it is, it's always justified to call the thought police. So if your neighbor is a Christian, be sure to snitch on him. Be sure can't allow Christians. But they're the real terrorists, really. Who knows how many random videos they've downloaded off the internet. Oh, so it does involve the police. Oh, okay. So in the UK, if your neighbor has an ideology you disapprove of, you can call the police on him. And if he downloaded a random video off the internet, he can get a terrorist conviction. Yeah, I'm really not going to go to the UK now. Oh God. Oh God. Wow. Wow. You guys are like, really, I mean it. You guys are worse than Nazis. Really. Please, why do you stay there? Why does the UK have an immigration problem? They should have an emigration problem. They should have everyone wanting to leave. What can I do if I want to snitch on others? If you're worried about someone you know, speaking to a trusted adult, this is aimed at 18-year-old college students, by the way, right? So, it's the right thing to do. Mm. Oh, okay. And here again, they tell you to call the police. Mm. Okay, so that's it. Wow. Um. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Thank you, UK government, for warning me about the UK government being horrible Nazis.